Chancellor Rishi Sunak has delivered a bigger budget than many expected today. The Chancellor's room for manoeuvre was boosted by a much more optimistic outlook from the Office for Budget Responsibility, which sees less permanent scarring from the pandemic on the economy. It sees borrowing coming in about 34 billion less than was expected previously, and then it sees economic growth this year much stronger. So they're talking about growth this year of 6.5%, whereas they were previously suggesting 4%. So that's a much more positive outlook. The Chancellor then also had about 40 billion in the pot from previously announced tax increases. So he had more room for manoeuvre, as I say. And while the economic projections are much better than expected, the fear of inflation did stalk the Chancellor a little bit in this budget, and so the various initiatives were just mindful of that. Inflation is now expected to come in at about 4% on average over the next year. Again, that's about double what was expected previously. And while much of that is driven by global forces and shipping costs and supply chain challenges, which the Chancellor couldn't really do much about directly, he was able to make moves around pay increases on the national minimum wage, for example, and is undertaking to freeze the fuel duty, which is a big challenge again around fuel costs. So lots that the Chancellor has been able to do given the better economic outlook, and he chose to spend and spend quite heavily. A number of sizable initiatives came forth today. Always the devil is in the detail with budgets, and we'll look at the paperwork over the days ahead. But the headlines seem to be that 6% increase in the national minimum wage, a change to the universal credit for those in work. So that all adds to pay packets for those on lower wages. And then locally, from a Northern Ireland context, the settlement for the NI executive is an extra 1.6 billion per annum over the coming years. That, again, at face value, looks like a generous settlement, but we have to place that in the context of the various economic challenges that Northern Ireland faces. And so while at face value that looks like a generous settlement, the challenges that we face and addressing those means that settlement may not be enough to address those challenges.